Good evening and welcome to Newsmaker Live. Thank you very much for joining us for this program. I am Clinton Reynolds, and this evening we have two very special guests. We want to discuss juvenile delinquency, and we want to discuss this in the context of St. Lucia and what has been happening. We hear about all the crime, all the violence. We see that there is a high rate of recidivism as far as the prisons. And we know that we have institutions in place, or should have institutions in place, working towards rehabilitation and ensuring that our youth are led down a path that leads them to success. But this is not always the case. And tonight, to discuss issues of that and efforts by citizens, private citizens, and organizations to get people going in the right direction, we have Keith W. Smith, the founder of Back on Track Ministries, the legal name right now, as he said, Back on Track Incorporated. And we also have a young man who is here with us, one who has gone through the system and who will be sharing his story and also giving some hope to some young people out there who might be facing some difficulties and some challenges in the world as things get increasingly difficult. Kim Willie is with us. He is a former ward of the BTC. He is a mentor for youth, and also he does some work at the Boys Training Center as well. So, gentlemen, welcome to the program. It's very, very nice to have you.
Thank you, sir, for having us.
Thank you very much.
Now, let me start with you, Kim. I want to know about your story. Tell us a bit about your story. You know, where are you coming from, and what has put you, what experiences in your life has put you in this position where you are right now, where you can now go back and mentor young people, especially young boys?
Well, what can I say? I've been through a lot of situations in my life. I may not want to talk about now, but I could probably give an idea of some of those situations where people get themselves incarcerated. I'm a former ward of the Boys Training Center, as you know, and I feel good about that. I have a sense of pride about myself, knowing that I've been through a situation. I still managed to rise above the surface. I may not know exactly in detail what people out there are going through, but I believe that they should stay focused, and there is hope.
Let's talk about your experience, and if you can, you know, it's usually good if, I know you don't want to go into details on certain aspects, but then, you know, to give people a context so that someone who might be in a similar situation to you can decide, okay, well, you know, based on Kim's experience, I can choose to do different. At what age did you become a ward of the Boys Training Center?
I was 15 years, 15 years of age. At that time, I was living at the Boys. I was living at Deriso. And a friend of mine, we decided to, you know, climb a shop, get some crackers and salted biscuit. We were hungry, but at that time we didn't have sufficient knowledge to understand that there were consequences, you know, in the things that we were thinking of. But we did it anyway, and I found myself at the Boys Training Center for 2 years. And it was, you know, difficult, you know, for a young man. You find yourself in an environment you don't have no, you know, idea about. But as you get, you know, as I got the training and the different training that they provide, I found myself in a situation where I'm a better person today.
Okay, let's go to you, Keith. And you have been, you know, going down that road, assisting people. Back on Track Ministries, you have had television programs, you have done very many things to just raise the awareness of the need to help those people, young men especially, who have found themselves on the wrong side of the law. Where has your ministry taken you, and what are you involved in right now?
First and foremost, let me thank you again for being here tonight. I'm trying to educate as much as possible, assist the clients of Back on Track to reintegrate into society. And we have to look at the genesis of crime. Kim hinted towards it, but I want to state it clearly that it's as a consequence of being neglected, rejected, being brought up in an unsatisfactory environment. What happened when you abuse as well from the schooling system, or perhaps you lack confidence in the laws of the country or the police, whatever you have been abused by, You are attracted to persons with like experience, and what you develop is antisocial grudges. So back on track as we speak, like Kim, I have been at the Boys Training Center for more than 20 years. Even at the
Not
time,
as a what though?
not as well.
Impossible.
I've been working at the Boys Training Center for more than 20 years. I have seen a lot of young men go through the system, some of them at Her Majesty's Prison and then to Bodley because of the weakness of the transitional services. And so, although there are limitations and although there are reasonable fears, there is a need for society to address and confront the issues. The families, sometimes they don't know what to do, especially when the inmates are released because they are stigmatized. So as one who play football, play cricket, walk among the boys, listen to the stories, get the way that they were programmed historically, how they were abused and so on. So I have felt it necessary. In addition to that, I had a brother at the Boys Training Center who was there for stabbing someone, and as a consequence of going there to visit him, I realized there was some let's put it this way, there were certain needs that were not being met. And so tears kept flowing from my mother's eyes, and as my visit multiplied, I realized that I need to do something. So I applied for a job, and there the story began in 1991. I went over to Her Majesty's Prison, and ever since I've been on the run. So more specifically...
No, you have to be careful what you're saying, because you're talking about Her Majesty's prisons, and then you're saying you're on the run.
I have been following the
Yeah.
vision, and I continue to be acting on the mission. I'm helping persons to get back on track. And basically, these are the three basic objectives. One, to help persons to reshape their lives personally. Two, to help persons readjust to society. And also to rediscover God's plan for their lives. Because as we speak, no one comes to this planet without the knowledge of God. And equally, there are other forces that are trying to distract people or get them off track. And so I really believe in spiritual enrichment. I believe in social upliftment, as well as personal responsibility and accountability in whatever the situation that might present itself.
Now Kim, you said you were at the Boys Training Center, and Keith also has been a teacher there. He has been an instructor. He has been a counselor, mentor. I mean, you have had some interaction with him. Tell me about your experience and how his ministry has assisted you while you were a ward at BTC.
Back on track have assisted me with the guidelines of survival, what a young man should do to stay focused in life, spiritually. To stay focused in the society that we're in, you must have a moral anchor. There must be some way where you could stop and pause for a while and say to yourself that God exists. If not, there will be no success. Somebody could give you, a basket of everything that's there, but if God is not part of it, then there will be no success. Mrs. Smith and I has been friends for a long time. Mrs. Smith has assisted me in many ways. I could say thank you very much, Mrs. Smith. Thank you very much. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Mrs. Smith, and most of all the Boys Training Center.
Why is that?
The Boys Training Center taught me, they taught me a course, taught me trades, and I did auto mechanics. And when I left the Boys Training Center, I did computer repairs. I don't know exactly which one I should run into now, but the computer repairs is paying off. So I must say the Boys Training Center.
Because you're a computer technician
I'm
right
a
now.
certified computer technician.
And you started that, you acquired that skill while you were a ward at the Boys Training Center.
I acquired the skill where I was a mechanic, because they teach mechanics at the Boys Training Center and woodwork and different stuff. So I acquired that there, and I must say thank you very much. But the Boys Training Center can't be the only door to success. I think the doors are at at parents' houses, where parents have to close their doors at 6 and make sure the kids are home. Don't send your child to the Boys Training Center because you think he has no hope, or that's the only alternative to his success. I think that parents should help their children and do what they can do to help their children, instead of sending them out of the Boys Training Center.
Now that's interesting what you just said, that parents, the door, parents should pretty much monitor their children and re-engage them take responsibility for children's actions. Tell me about you, about how things got wrong, how you ended up with your friend going to that shop and stealing crackers.
Well, I was in the countryside with my grandmother. There's a lot of mangoes there and stuff. My mother was in Castries somewhere. My parents, I don't really know them. My dad is overseas. My mom is somewhere floating around. And I was with my grandmother spending some time with her. And some friends, we came together. We decided we'll go to that shop and get some crackers to eat. We went up there. We sold crackers and tuna fish and lots of juice. Turns out there was a consequence for that. But how that happened is when an individual doesn't kind of distinguish good friends from bad friends. Because if I have the intelligence to distinguish good friends from bad friends in the past, when I was 15 years, then I would never end up at the Boy Shooting Center. But it has been, that experience still has paid off. So I could say it's still a plus for me.
Yeah, but you said your parents, I mean, you don't have a strong relationship with your parents. Your mother is somewhere, you said, in Castries. Your father is overseas, so you don't have that rapport with them. Your grandmother was the parent figure for you.
Yeah.
And how much of that was a factor, your parents not being around to guide you, to direct you, to give you advice, to provide that sort of security that every child in the society needs?
Well, my grandmother, I mean, people in the South don't see things as, they see things very differently. You would get up one morning and you'd find yourself in the forest. It's very different to how, other parents are, where they would get all the privileges, or be at pizza, get all these good opportunities. I didn't have that. I would get up in the morning and find myself in the forest cutting, trees and doing all kind of stuff. And that's how my grandmother, she taught me how to clean, wash, cook. And I believe every young person out there should know how to do that. And that still has paid off, despite the limitations where my parents wasn't around.
Let me come in at this.
Yes.
You see, parenting, behind every delinquent child is a delinquent parent. Some people don't buy into that. You see, children do not just, they just develop out of blues and just become delinquent. The way that they were conditioned. As I told you earlier on, when they are neglected, they are rejected, and they find themselves in an unsatisfactory environment, and even abused, they get persons for like experience. Kim just made the point that if his father and his mother were in that kind of environment where he was, and they were providing that emotional stability, listening to his dreams and his goals, and making sure that his meals, he gets his meals, that kind of environment where children should be brought up with parent the way that they're supposed to, I don't think that his friends would have been attractive. But since he was basically all alone and is seeking for attention, peer pressure, you might want to call it, other factors pull him aside. They push him towards he had been marginalized and he was at risk. And eventually he couldn't stay in that vacuum. So as a young man full of energy, and as he speaks, you could see that he's a very intelligent young man. He's a young man that can that is trying to reach for the goal, trying to achieve. And so with that kind of energy, when you cannot get it in a positive, on a positive level or track or in dimension, it have to be diverted in another form. And so that same positive energy turned on the other side, flip on the other side, and he was engaged in what
Now,
that was a moment in his life.
Now I want to come back on the parenting, but let's take our first break on Newsmaker Live. When we come back, we'll discuss parenting in particular and what influence parents have on their children's lives and what they turn out to be in the future. Stay with us. Newsmaker Live continues right